1991, the band formerly known as Mookie Blaylock released their debut album.
Welcome to Missouri.
I'm a big believer that food tells a story.
In a quarter mile, use the middle lane to take the US 50 West
In
exit.
Korea across 4 seasons and enjoying the foods across 4 seasons. What story did it tell you?
I think that connection I realized was so special. I mean, it was a physical manifestation of...
I am looking at the Merrimack River to see if I can kayak it, but the flow is way too strong. I was hopeful. I'm in Onondaga Cave State Park. So there's a bunch of trails in the park and also the cave tour, which we'll definitely check out. Yeah, this would have been interesting, but too fast. I am hiking this morning on the Oak Ridge Trail, and that is in the Onondaga Cave State Park, central Missouri. Nice and cool this morning. It is what? It's the 28th of August, and it was, I think, 56 degrees this morning when I woke up outside the trailer. That's pretty cool for Missouri. I guess it's cool for Arkansas. That's where I lived for many years. Missouri can't be that different, just to the north. So I'm hiking two trails this morning, the Oak Ridge Trail, and then there's a connector trail that goes over to the Deer Run Trail. That will go along at one point along the bluffs of the Merrimack River. So that should be interesting. Very rocky trail, which is nice. It's not overgrown with a lot of grass. There is some grass right here, you can see. So I've got to look out for ticks. Last time I did a Missouri hike, I got into all kinds of ticks. Very unpleasant. I am now on the White Connector Trail, connecting the Oak Ridge Trail Loop to the Deer Run Trail Loop. And it looks like on the map that this is just about a mile long. The Oak Ridge Trail was, I think, 3.1 mile loop, and the Deer Run is 2.5 miles. So I missed a little bit of the Oak Ridge Trail, maybe half a mile, and I'll be skipping part of the Deer Run Trail, but I'm getting most of the action. Looks like another creek crossing down the slope to the left. We're headed that way. I'm on the Deer Run Trail. Looks like I've reached the top and a dirt road and a bench. It's interesting. Okay, going down some steps. I'm along the bluff line of the Merrimack River. It's very interesting. I did not expect these steps. Not too much of a viewpoint here. It goes down. There's a river down there somewhere. Okay, I'm back at my campsite. Almost 12. So that was 3 hours, 45 minutes. And I'm not sure how far, about 6 miles, I think. Very pretty campsite right here. But further down, even right here, is prone to flooding, which I was not really pleased to see. I'm going to try to avoid places like that in the future. Here I am. It is getting warmer.
Would sound like maybe like a, they're not hollow though, so I can't imagine it was It's just like banging on rocks. I don't know. Yeah, so we got a few different species of them. Probably the coolest, or I guess that's up for debate, but the grotto salamanders are one that has to be in the cave here all its life. So he's blind and translucent and everything. We get cave salamanders, which are kind of cute and easy to name because they don't have to live in the cave. We get long-tailed salamanders, slimy salamanders, Ozark zigzag salamanders, and what else? Other species I'm forgetting. I can't think of it right now, but we got about 6 different species that we've seen in this cave.
Are there salamanders in this?
Yeah, so usually on our bachelor days we count other things too, like crickets and salamanders.
Count crickets?
Yeah, we do. Crickets. But they're not as they're hard to see, so. But we get some pretty big crickets in here, so.
Cave crickets capable of living outside the cave or no?
They are. They're also called camelback. So if you ever see them like in like your basement or something, yeah, they're the creepiest looking crickets you've ever seen.
Fearless? They just kind of jump at you.
Yeah, right. They're huge.
Welcome to Illinois.
The Ohio River. How about this for a narrow suspension bridge? Pretty wild. Kentucky.
Welcome to Kentucky.
I am hiking the Eagle Point Trail in the Mousetail Landing State Park in Tennessee. This is about a 6-mile loop trail, more like a lollipop trail. There was the shelter back there, that was pretty cool. But I started going down the road that went from the shelter, and that I thought it was going to run into this trail, but apparently not. So I had to double back and get back on the trail, the blue blazed trail. Oh, nice hawk feather. Wait, it goes this way. This trail is semi-primitive. It's a little hard to follow at times. It's not exactly very level tread. It's just not used very much. Did see 3 people today though. I did not expect to see anyone. But being the weekend, I guess it gets a little more traffic. Now there should be another shelter in about another 1.5 miles or so. Nice to be in the woods again. This inlet is called Lick Creek. And the Tennessee River is off that way, maybe 1/2 mile or so. And I don't know what I'm looking at over there. Looks like a rock or something. That's the Tennessee River down there. A lot of boat traffic. Here's the other shelter, looking out onto the Tennessee River. This is pretty darn cool. There's the mighty Tennessee. That is a really cool skeleton of a tree. Oh my gosh. That was a monster. It's about 5 feet in diameter at shoulder height. Pretty awesome. Okay, it's a 1:15. I left at 9. So 4 hours, 15 minutes. That was a pretty tough hike because the trail was so rough. So many rocks and lots of up and down. There was a few flat areas. Not many. That was pretty tough. It was probably only around 6 miles, but that was a hard 6.